A lot of people would argue that Jesperi Kotkaniemi is the most overrated and most overpaid player on the team. I would like to argue I think he is the most underrated player on the team and actually is on one of, if not the best contract on the Hurricanes. Here's why. A lot of pundits, experts, and armchair GMs alike around the league quantify Jesperi Kotkaniemi as having one of the worst contracts in the National Hockey League. At an average annual value of $4.82 million per season, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is locked up with the Hurricanes for the next 7 seasons. A lot of people speculate that KK was only acquired by the Hurricanes as revenge for the Sebastian Aho offer sheet. However, Don Waddell did state on numerous occasions that they were interested in the player before and, in fact, tried to trade for him. And while Jesperi Kotkaniemi did have a down year to start, he has significantly improved in all aspects of the game, in my opinion. And there's a lot that he does incredibly well. So Jesperi is a great middle six center, and he has second-line center potential. His value as a center comes primarily as being a safety valve for more of the freewheeling winger types. For example, he was on a line with Martin Necas and Andrei Svechnikov that actually functions well for a good amount of the season when it was together, prior to having to shuffle the lines because they went cold, injuries, and numerous other things that require you to change the lines up a little bit. Kotkaniemi has a very intense and physical 200-foot game. He loves to lay the body on people. He gets in on the forecheck, and his preferred way of separating someone from the puck is below the goal line with a shoulder. He plays a high-effort game, and he uses his size to get to the front of the net and work in tight around the net below the goal line to create scoring opportunities and generally create chaos in front of the net. He's also really good in the face-off circle, and his face-off win percentage is above 50% in every single category. This makes him a much more valuable center in all 3 zones. He's a really good playmaker as well, and over the past few seasons, his assist totals have steadily gone up, as well as his goal totals. He's incredibly passionate, he's incredibly competitive, and there's times where that really shows. And Jesperi Kotkaniemi can really play with an edge when it matters. For example, Game 5 versus the Devils, he had an excellent all-around game, and he got an assist on the series-winning goal in overtime. The Stadium Series game, in my opinion, I was there, and part of the reason his name is on that sweater back there is I feel like out of everybody there, he had the absolute best all-around game that night, along with 2 points. So a lot of people also quantify Jesperi Kotkaniemi as a bust, but another thing I would like to remind everyone of, he was drafted significantly higher than what anybody initially thought that he would be. He wasn't expected to go 3rd overall. And after having some difficulty developing with the Montreal Canadiens, the Hurricanes have not only salvaged him, has the potential to be a second-line center that can also fit up and down the lineup as needed in the event of special team situations and injuries. Also, I don't think the Hurricanes targeted Jesperi Kotkaniemi to be a scoring threat second-line center. I think that long-term, he's going to be the replacement for Jordo whenever he hangs it up, even though that looks like it's going to be 4 seasons from now, potentially. So to summarize his biggest values as a center, he's physical, he uses his size, he checks, he is great defensively, and whereas someone like Sebastian Aho is a scorer flanked by playmakers, Jesperi Kotkaniemi is better served as a playmaker flanked by scorers, which is why I think in the event that the Necas, Kotkaniemi, and Svechnikov line is reunited, it could be incredibly productive this season, especially with the addition of Michael Bunting to go with Sebastian Aho, as well as Seth Jarvis' game improving. So as far as what Jesperi Kotkaniemi needs to improve on in the upcoming season for the Hurricanes to have a shot at making a good cup run, the playmaking ability he already has, it needs to get better. Kotkaniemi can start looking at being a 70-point player this season, the Hurricanes will be in good shape. As aforementioned, Jesperi is great defensively, he needs to start producing more offense in all situations, be it shorthanded, 5-on-5, power play. The production needs to go up in every way possible, and that's the biggest thing he can do to prove the doubters wrong as far as how good he actually is. He also needs to play every game with a chip on his shoulder, like he did against the Devils in Game 5, like he does seemingly every time that the Hurricanes visit Montreal, and like he did in the Stadium Series game. Big moments are where Jesperi Kotkaniemi has really shined lately, and he can have even more of those, and if he can have them more consistently night in and night out, become that top 6 scoring threat, and above all, become that big body, big frame, intimidating center that he has shown that he is incredibly capable of being. Biggest thing he can do for the Hurricanes is become the most intimidating forward on the team other than probably Svechnikov. Bunting can be intimidating too, but he's more of an annoyance than anything. That ought to silence a lot of the doubt around if the offer sheet was the right decision or not. Me personally, I think it was, and I think Jesperi Kotkaniemi was absolutely worth what the Hurricanes did to get him. So to summarize, Jesperi Kotkaniemi needs to do literally everything that he's already doing, get a little bit more offensive production, and play with that same physical, almost hateful edge that he can play with, and play with it every night, and he will be an incredible asset going forward, and he'll silence a lot of his doubters. So that's all for this video. Next up will be Jalen Chatfield. That one will be kind of long because I actually have a lot to say about Chatty, because y'all know I'm a really big Chatty fan. But Kotkaniemi is actually my favorite forward on the team other than Aho. That's why I've got that Stadium Series sweater back there. So not only am I hoping for a big season out of him, I think he has a career season coming up. Y'all take care, and I will see you next time.